All right, let me see. I think we're live. Pocket Pals Hub monthly roundtable with Atlas Win, MetaKhai, Mushu's Collectibles. Follow them in the description. You're going to get their YouTube channels. Follow them on Instagram as well, wherever you can find them.
Free
Hello.
pubs. Free pubs. Let's go.
We've already been gooning out for the past 10 minutes back before we got live. So hello, everybody. We are going to do these monthly and talk about the state of the market, how we feel, Dallas market, national market, sealed, ponchos, high-end, modern, vintage, Pokemon.
I like that Dallas has its own market.
Dallas,
It does.
you know what? We'll get to Dallas later, but Dallas does have its own market. I was actually scared at Cano Shark about it. It's like, what have we done?
There's every big player in the city, like 10 minutes from each other. Just
in New York.
We're all neighbors.
we're all neighbors.
Okay, so I guess we can start here. So the last time we did this was 2 months ago. And I want us to all zap back to 2 months ago. This is, I don't know, like somewhere like post Collecticon LA, I think. Whatever. Somewhere in March. We had our predictions then, and we've seen what the market's done since. And I wanted to get, one by one, what your read is on how you felt back then compared to how you feel now. What's changed? What's the same? And what surprised you?
Wow.
I'll take it first then. I think back then we were talking about the IRs crashing, and I think they did. I'm pretty sure.
Totally.
I have like completely avoided most of the IRs because I'm like, I never liked them in the first place, but I only liked them because their margins were pretty good for the time. But now they're all dipping, and so I'm like, yes, we're back to normal. Scarlet Violet is correcting a little bit. They're reaching the $200 mark. Surging Sparks is hitting around the 210 mark. And I'm like, yes, it's time to buy in soon.
100%.
I've been waiting for these moments. But other than that, I've actually have a weird take on the market now. I think we were all right. We were all wrong as well.
Yep.
It's very divergent. There's like all like the obvious plays are going down, and all the weird niche like vintage or sometimes even modern are like going even higher. So there was a downside on like the bulk modern stuff. And then there's an upside going up for this weird stuff. It's just truly insane. So my mind is blown. And I think that the Pokemon hobby is still going crazy. And then I made a story post today about Costco. I don't know if y'all saw that, but I think that Costco is going to like stabilize the modern market very hardcore shortly. But we can have that conversation after y'all's take on the 2-month update. I'll pass it to someone else.
Okay.
I can go. I mean, sealed basically went parabolic in the past 2 months. Like we thought it was already crazy back in March, end of Q1. That's kind of when you start seeing stuff starting to go up, after taxes are getting paid and stuff like that. But I wasn't expecting sealed to go up like this much more. Like a lot of stuff doubled, tripled, quadrupled. So like that's obviously crazy. I think we were talking about low pop. And we were talking about level X's, which both of those had a big boom over the past 2 months, which is like we called that. Yeah. Gold stars and ponchos, we found a lot of activity on those. I think in February and March, those blew up even more over the past 2 months. So I think we were right there. I guess we just got some high level alpha here or something, because we're pretty spot on with the slabs and stuff like that, at least.
Yeah, the one thing that surprised me, we were on it on growth with things like sealed, with vintage grails, with Japanese exclusives, but the rate at which they are continuing to climb, week after week record sales of not only, Apex vintage grails up, 200,000, 100,000 plus, but even the stuff that's gone from a PSA 10 on March 15th is 3,000 and now it's 7K.
Yep.
And then the next sale in a week is gonna be 8K. And privately it's selling for 10.
Jesus.
We knew that was happening. Of course, we know a lot of people in the high-end market, but the degree to which it has continued to exacerbate is shocking to me. I thought, look, it's a summer. We knew Destined Rivals was going to come out, but at some point, I think ultra modern and vintage would decouple. Money would be spent for some folks in vintage, and other money would be spent in ultra modern. But I think there's this like crazy synergy where money's getting thrown around left and right, and things just keep climbing. And I don't know if it's scary. I don't know if it's exciting or encouraging, but it definitely is a little nutty.
Yeah, very.
Well, I do have a lot of I listen to a lot of people like in the hobby, and there's like a lot of the older like OGs, I suppose like OGs in this hobby. I consider myself like one of the newer collectors. I've been here since like 5 years ago, since COVID. But everyone's telling me they're like, this feels like COVID. I'm like, what do you mean by that? But they're all saying like during COVID, like the booms were so high and so hot, it was too hot to handle pretty much. But I'm not sure if this is going to be the same thing. Like everything's being exceptionally higher than the last thing. I think some will surpass the COVID booms, and then some will die hard. But I truly don't. It's really hard to pick things nowadays. I think the gold stars. Miller may have better knowledge in this realm. I think the gold stars are like going to be continuing to grow because they're just so hard to grade, and so the people who have them are like strictly holding them. Like they're not letting them go. What do you think about that, Miller?
So gold star wise, yeah, like you said, no one's letting them go. Like once they have them, they're trying to complete the whole set. It's not just pieces here and there of what they like. They literally want all of it.
Right. Because during COVID spike, they had the big Charizards. That's just one thing, Like the gold stars is like a whole chain of Pokemon. I'm like, oh Lord, I just want my Rayquaza and call it a day. I don't care about the other cards.
Bro, the Ray's goated. Like,
yeah.
Out of all of them, I think debatedly, the Ray's number one.
Oh yeah.
Not the Regirock?
Oh,
Regirock.
Somebody mute him.
Get him out of here.
In particular, the BGS 9.5 Regirock.
Ban him.
That's crazy.
The amount I've seen that freaking same exact slab get passed around. I see it in different states.
It's good it finally left Texas. Or was that one that was here?
It left and came back.
Oh,
God.
Yeah.
You know what the crazy thing is though? Like over the past 2 months since LA, we've also had tariffs turn on, turn off. Actual like, if you look at investment wise, like it was such a huge roller coaster. And I kind of figured that would possibly dampen the momentum in like the Pokemon markets because, you have to start and stop and you got to think about things on like a macro level. Like it's affecting, supply coming in from Japan, like, and stuff like that. And you would think that it would slow down a little bit, but it really hasn't. And then just because I have an economics background, looking at where we are right now, we're planning on having like rate cuts towards the middle of this month. And, the M2 money supply is going to start going up again. We're going to be printing more money. So it seems like there's a lot more gas left in the tank. That just means there's going to be, we know that there's like international demand and international money coming into the market as well, especially with the high end stuff. And so I feel like there's still more liquidity that's going to come into the market that could help push up Ponchos, Gold Stars, like other huge high end grills. So we could honestly just keep seeing prices go up, a bit longer than expected. Right. That's just my take from just looking at things from like the bigger picture.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And it's still like we're at the early stages of this hobby. Pokemon as a collectible is relatively young. And once people with the international money, people who like traditional investments turn to Pokemon as a valuable, viable alternative investment, those people are paying, 10,000 is nothing to them. They're going north of 100K and they're buying into these things that are very rare and scarce, and they're just gonna keep it.
Their snap buys too. It's like very decisive and like, I'm buying that, no problem. And they just keep going. I'm like, oh my god, okay, well,
Yeah. And
let's do it again.
and maybe to pivot, like I would argue a reason behind that is because there's now been confidence in sealed across multiple eras.
That's fair.
So it's not just, oh yeah, vintage Pokemon, there's so many base set Charizard PSA 10 sells for $250,000. Now we're seeing appreciation all the way up to Scarlet and Violet with sealed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think what that might indicate is people are feeling confident that Pokemon is going to be here for a long time. And there's anybody from the casual collector or investor who has anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 worth of inventory, all the way up to people with millions. And people want to stay in the hobby, and the money they earn from it goes right back in. And it is accelerating the growth of all of these things.
You made a good point, because like even me, like I have so much confidence in my plays, but I also have confidence in, if I fail, I just wait 5 years. Like, so what? Like, I'm ready to wait 5 years. Let's go. But like sealed has that natural appreciation. I don't mind making the wrong decision sometimes. Like I make great sound plays, but for the most part, the wrong plays like still corrected itself. I'm like, okay, we're cooking now. So like you said, there's a lot of confirmation in buying sealed. That's why I transitioned pretty hardcore into sealed recently. I used to do it back then, but like I went from like less slabs to like all sealed, and now I'm going backwards in the middle somewhere.
What would you not sell right now?
Me?
What is like a, hey, I'm keeping it for 5 years. I'm not going to touch this.
I have such a different perception on like cards right now. I'm only trading my below $1,000 booster boxes if it helps me get like the older, hard to get stuff. But right now, I'm like, even Silver Tempest, like the ones that I have in PC, I have like a couple cases for PC. To me, like those are like the ones that just you hold for quite a bit. I'll probably hold 2 for a long term and then flip another few 2. But going from 350 to 1,000 is just like crazy. I think that's very possible in 5 years. I think it's very possible in 2 years. In 5 years, Silver Tempest probably comes to like 2,000 or something, right? Probably.
Yeah.
So like, just seeing those growths, I'm like, why am I even selling now? It's just wait, pretty much.
Yeah. What about you guys on the slab side? Is there any inventory that you feel so bullish about that you want to take it off the shelf? Or is that not your model at all?
No, me personally, I'm going to hold on to everything. Like all the stuff I've gotten now, even like the Kyogre and Groudon that I just have, the Double Crisis, like
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Like the quality on those are so bad. Like to get a 10 is difficult.
Right.
And so I'm confident even holding on to those, the gold stars, and especially the Lugia. The Lugia is like, I think it's slept on. It's been dormant for so long. Like the last sale for it was 44K, and like in this market, I believe it can get up to like even 100K plus.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Just for context, for those who are watching, Miller just purchased a first edition Neo Genesis Lugia English PSA 10. And that is a crazy grail card for anyone, but he's totally right on the money. I mean, the last sale was October 2024 for 44. So for sure, like we've seen all vintage since then, double, triple, if not quadruple.
Mhm.
Isn't it crazy all the big sales were around that time from last year?
Hmm.
What was going on during that time? All the big sales stopped right there. I don't know. It's like literally kind of weird, like publicly. I don't know.
I don't remember then, but I remember spring last year, the craze was all the festas, like the 15th or the 20th, whatever festa that was.
Yeah.
And that hit a high of like 20, 25K, and then it dropped down to 8K. And now it's starting to like ramp up again for that specific card. And all the other festas, actually.
Yeah, those are doing really good right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think Japanese is going to continue to keep. I mean, I just still think it's super undervalued. You know, especially exclusive promos. I mean, I talked to Milan and Miller about this. I think I would not be surprised if the floor of the cheapest poncho is 10K soon, really soon.
Oh my
It just like, I mean, look at the numbers. Look at the material. You know, we're what, 12 and a half, 13 on the Mario?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Milan?
Well, I just think the last comp on Mario and like in the US, like on alt was 12,500, I think yesterday night. And literally after that, I sold one for 12,750. Like just like that. I literally the same one I got like 2 days ago in a trade. It's already gone. So it's like it's crazy how like when I went to Worlds in Yokohama, I didn't think much of it, but I saw nothing but ponchos there because it's like you're a minority and everyone there's Japanese and every single table has ponchos. Like you're talking 50 to 100 PSA 10 ponchos there, and like they were pretty high back then, but having them at every single show and like, you know, just seeing just how liquid they are. And it's like every single time I get one, the price goes up. And then I sell it and I get another one, the price goes up. And it's like, it's one of those things where I think the demand is genuinely like, I think it's like legitimate demand. I know there are people that think like, oh, like some people are like, they could be like money laundering through ponchos because how liquid they are and stuff like that. But, yeah, but a lot of that fun. But the crazy thing is like, if I showed you screenshots of like my DMs of how many people message me to buy ponchos just for collecting, legitimate demand, and it's international. Like I have people from Europe, from Asia, from Australia, like everywhere asking for them. Right. I think because of that demand and the fact that each of them in a PSA 10 is like what, pop 2,000 max.
It's not that high.
It's not much, and they're going to keep going up. And then you have the 30th anniversary. Like we don't know what's going to happen, but little key piece of information that not everybody knows. Next year during the 30th anniversary, ponchos turn 10 years old.
Yup.
That's a very big milestone for that card. And a lot of people don't understand the significance of that. And I think we could still see more of an accelerated move. Like Amar said, the whole poncho set could be worth 100K floor at some point in the next 5 to 10 years. Mario could be like a 50 to 75K card at some point. Luigi's not too far behind. You just don't know with stuff like that because we couldn't get it, right? Like we had to know somebody in Japan to get it in the first place. And people back then were sleeping on it. Now, you know, they have the new Mario movie coming out next year. Like there's just so many catalysts that can send this thing even higher. So but it's good. It's good to see that the demand isn't like, it's not like fake. Like it's not like there are just a bunch of, there's like 10, 15, 20 people that keep buying them up. No, it's like everybody wants it. And in Orlando, I think I sold 7 to 8, maybe 9 copies of them. And it was like nothing. Like, people come up, they want it, they get it, on to the next one. Like that's what they came for. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of upside there still.
You mean it's not like the Rocket Snorlax PSA 10?
No, hell no. Hell no. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I had holding that card. And as soon as I moved it, I was so happy.
Yeah.
Miller was like, this thing is going to keep going up. And I'm like, I don't know. If I can trade it into a Gold Star Charizard PSA 9, I think I'll be pretty happy. And I think that was probably a really good decision because, you know, it seems like with those more niche EXs, there's a lot less demand. There's like X amount of people that really like them. Whereas like, you know, 100 times more for everything else, like high end. So yeah, that was a scary card.
As someone offered me, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, no.
Even the Rocket's Mewtwo, which I call the N64 Mewtwo because of the art style. Like,
yeah,
same thing.
That's a tough one too.
That one was okay though. I felt like.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like the one that made sense because of all the
right.
going on.
Right.
Like me and Milan almost made a deal on that one.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And then everything just ended up working out.
Like, yeah, we were like, okay, sold. Right. But that was one of the few that I was like, that one actually makes sense.
Right.
The Snorlax, I was like, I don't even like this Snorlax card. I was like, well, I don't know. I think I have to like it myself to even put money behind it like that.
That's fair.
This is a good question from Cass. Which do you guys believe hit their ceiling faster over the next 6 months? Gold Stars or Poncho Japanese Modern exclusives, Festas, etc.?
There's a lot to think about, you know, with that question, because when we think about Gold Stars, like the Japanese Gold Stars haven't really done much. They've kind of just like sat there, but the English Gold Stars have been blowing up. And I think the one big thing to note between the Ponchos and the Japanese exclusives versus English Gold Stars is like, to my knowledge, the Japanese and the Chinese like buyers, investors don't want English Gold Stars. They're primarily looking for Chinese and Japanese cards. So to me personally, it feels like Ponchos is a much more fully international sort of like chase card. So the fact that you have demand and liquidity from like everybody, gives that a very, very solid floor. But with Gold Stars as well, though, like you have much lower pop. So, and when you have international money from like Europe coming in, people that are just like sitting on cash, sitting on crypto. I mean, it only takes like Miller, correct me if I'm wrong, it only takes 3-4 sales of a specific Gold Star 10 to send the thing flying to the moon. It's like Umbreon could easily go from 25-30 to like 60-65-70 in like 4 sales, because it only takes 4 sales to get there. Whereas Ponchos, it's like you're kind of climbing. You have a lot of sales and you're slowly grinding up. So
Right.
it's like 2 completely different ways of looking at it.
I mean, not only the 10s, but if you look at the 9s, for example, if you paid attention to the Mewtwo hit 4 to 5K on the 9, and the 10 barely even climbed.
Yep.
Like, once the 9 climbed, the 10 will climb too.
Right.
Or the Gold Star starter PSA 9's just running like crazy still.
Mhm.
Man, I mean, yeah, to answer that question, who knows? I mean, there's got to be a ceiling to some of this, right? Or will there not be? I mean, because of the demand and how scarce some of these cards are, especially in a PSA 10, will it just continue to depreciate over time, just like sealed? I think whereas back in 2020, there was a spike for COVID, a spike because of outside of Pokemon content creators, Logan Paul, like there were all-time record sales, and then you saw 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and then now 24, 25 creeping back up. Do we think it's going to do something like that again? It'll either hit a ceiling or plateau or maybe even fall, or do we think it's just going to continue to climb now? This is a leading question, but do you think we've entered kind of a new era in Pokemon, in the Pokemon market, where some of the past conventions are just not going to ring true anymore?
I don't have enough market data to see past the 30th anniversary, truth be told. I think that I can only make plans off of this year and next year, and then after that I'm like, well, let's just hold everything. But that's all I got for me personally. To answer this specific question, in 6 months I think Gold Stars will hit the ceiling, if there is a ceiling, but I think the Ponchos will surpass the 6 month marker. But both of them, either way, just blow out 6 months no matter what, and I think the ceilings are just going to be insanely high for both parameters or both categories.
Yeah, and I think every bull market, I want to say, is going to be different. Like the last one seemed a lot more artificial because like Logan Paul pumped everything up. Like, you had all this nostalgia hit all at once, and then it kind of deflated, and now we're actually seeing like a legitimate rise in prices because a lot of people in the hobby they're just getting in, and they're just wanting the cards that they really, really want. And I mean, everybody just has a lot of money now. Back then you also had the stimulus checks and stuff being injected into the market. That's one big thing that is not going to happen again,
Right.
And so we're seeing actual liquidity coming into the market. So it seems like this is a legitimate bull market compared to the last one. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. What's the best hold? I have some booster boxes, but I want to get into slab. Just wondering best way to get my feet wet. Sealed is great to hold, bro.
Period.
Sealed is safest for sure.
My motto with slabs is if I have the thing for 45 days, I feel weird. And look, there are slab holds that will stand the test of time. We just talked about things like Gold Stars, and I've got some, like I have a PSA 10 first set shining Mewtwo, and if I hold it, it'll appreciate. So there are some things that if you hold it for longer, it's totally okay. But the slab game is rinse and repeat, in my opinion. You take the funds, you take the earnings, you take the profit, you put it into more slabs, you grow your inventory, you keep selling. Sealed, I think you're going to be more protected if you hold. Obviously, a lot of us hold Evo Skies. Yeah, it's $2,000 a box ish now. Will it run to 25 to 3K by the end of the year? There is a high chance it can get at least to 25. I think there's a moderate chance it can get to 3K and go from there. So I don't know what your motives are, Santiago, for holding and selling or getting into slabs. But if you have booster boxes that are desirable, even things from Scarlet and Violet like Balde Evolved, Surging Sparks, Twilight Masquerade, of course, Destined Rivals, I would hold on to that for a little bit. And if you're going to explore slabs, maybe find some cash and start small. But I wouldn't get rid of your position in sealed to replace it for slabs.
Agreed.
So my take from vending this last year is like, if I had to like all the knowledge in the world and went backwards, I would have probably pulled a lot more of my punches, because last year I was like going velocity sales, like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. But I think I would have. Nowadays, I'm really pulling my punches right now. I'm like very decisive in what I sell and what I don't sell. But right now, like the ADP from Cosmic Eclipse, I truly think that card is undervalued. So now I'm like pulling my punches. I'm buying them. I'm just holding them. It's one of those cards that will double, triple probably in the next year or so. So I'm doing a hybrid play right now, Santiago. Sealed is much more margin profit growth. And then the slabs that I'm deciding to pull back and like, hold for a longer term is more of a risky play, but they're like almost triple, quadruple sometimes than the sealed would do. So that's up to you what your risk tolerances are. Sealed overall is just safer. Like you literally won't fail if you just hold it for 3+ years. I don't think there's been a single booster box that has failed the 3+ year marker.
Even Shrouded Fable.
Yeah.
Sucks. Okay, sorry. I hate that set so much.
No,
You don't like it, bro?
it's gonna do well. It was short printed.
It will do well. It will do well. I only like it because of King Drinker Ninja. That's like the promo box thing. But other than that, I'm like, I don't. I'll risk it somewhere else. Oh man,
That's a good one. Okay, let's pivot a bit. Let's talk about. We've got a lot of shows coming up. It's still very busy. We thought this summer was going to cool down. I don't know. Black Bolt White Flare is coming out in Japan this weekend.
yeah.
Destined Rivals is doing its thing. I think it's actually recoiling and recovering a little bit, even with the singles and the sealed. People are getting really excited about megas. There was a new potential Greninja mega set that got announced today. And it just seems like things are continuing to ramp up. We're getting into the 30th anniversary. As that's happening, how are we feeling about these next shows coming up? And what have you experienced since the last show we had when we last talked, which was Collecticon LA? How have the shows changed? And do you think we're going to meet, I don't know, more resistance at shows? Are they going to be slower? Is it going to be rapid fire like it was in February? How are you guys feeling?
I'll take the lead on this one, I guess. So I feel like with shows, I feel like we're gonna get more resistance, and only because shows are starting to pop up way more often than they used to be. Like we're getting a big influx, maybe like every weekend, or if not, multiple times a week, where there's a show. So like, it's tougher on the show end.
I agree. I mean, I was looking at the calendar. So starting next week, there's Dallas Collecticon, then there's the ATX show in Conroe, then there's Card Party in Tampa, then there's Dallas Card Show, and then after that, I think is Collecticon New Jersey, and after that is ATX Card Show in Austin. We have 6 straight weeks of shows.
Yeah.
So like this is like the back half of this year is about to just get like busy as hell, and it's just really hard. There's going to be a lot of resistance. I think it's going to be tough to keep inventory going. because you know it only takes one show, and like you know we're very spoiled in that all the Texas shows so far this year have been amazing, every single one of them, and so it's like it really just takes like one show. Could be Dallas Collecticon. You do amazing. Your entire inventory wipes out, and we're in like a weird place right now where rebuying stuff as a vendor is very, very tough, especially in like the Dallas market because it's so competitive.
Yeah.
Like you got to be paying 90%. We're very close to 90% to get anything like good, anything high in demand, and so like you're really working with like a 10% margin normally. And it's just tough because everybody you might find something at 85, 86%. The next person in line's offering 90%. Next thing you know, like you're straight out of luck trying to find it. So then you have to go look at online groups, and there's some shady characters online now that you know they're gonna try and scam you and stuff. So it's like with 6 shows coming up for us, like it's gonna get pretty tough. It's gonna get very tough to keep everything, you know, looking good, like on your displays and everything, while you're still, you know, turning and burning. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I will say there's probably like for some reason I've noticed a small influx of people like kind of dumping their collections. I think a lot of people are scared that the market would crash. There's like the summer conversation, like, oh, it's gonna go down, market cools off. So I think a lot of people are cashing in at the moment. But like Milan said, like it's getting highly competitive that like as soon as these collections are just dumped into the market, it's snap bought by like there's 10 people waiting to purchase this collection. So it's a really weird spot. I'm like, I think we like you said, we have time to still make gains, but it's also like, do you sell now and like secure the bag while it's still here, or do you hold longer and secure 2 more bags? Like, I don't know anymore.
Well, yeah, and like to the point of buying, like if you have all the cash, you've just liquidated a ton. What are you gonna do with the cash? How are you gonna make it work for you? And especially in a scene like in Dallas, it's so competitive, and it's been pretty tough to buy. But you're right, Dylan. There have been people who have been liquidating big collections recently, and I think that's in part due to how much Ultramodern has corrected.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But another thing I'd like to mention is specific to Dallas. You know, we like Miller said, we have a bajillion shows all the time, and if there are any vendors watching, you know, I walked a show this past weekend. I went to Oklahoma City for a show. Every single vendor I talked to is preparing for Collecticon Dallas. I can tell you right now, the community in Dallas has been going to shows every weekend. And I would not be surprised if this show was just like any other show for them. And I don't know if they are planning their pockets and wallets to pay for good stuff at Collecticon Dallas. So do what you will with that info. I personally am being a little bit prudent on, I'm going to max out on this show and sell so much and hit record sales, and it's going to be the best show ever. I think the Dallas buying scene, community, whatever, customer base is so, I would call it fatigued by the volume of shows, that we might run into a situation where these vendors are overloaded with inventory from all over the country, and then all of these buyers are spoiled for choice, and everyone gets hurt.
That's a great take. I actually feel that way, that the audience might be a little too saturated, and like, I'm tired of these shows.
For sure.
Well, how was the Oklahoma crowd compared to Dallas?
Yeah, you know, I went there because, just like I said, I think Dallas is saturated, maybe even oversaturated with shows right now. And I wanted to check out something that was drivable to see if it was viable for me to go vend at the next one. And what I loved about the show, it was a Cards and More show. They do PokeFest around the Midwest and Texas. And they actually have one in Dallas this coming weekend. It was smaller. It was probably the size of, I mean, maybe like the one of the first NTXs where it was like only 2 rooms. Not the one in Plano, but after that.
The palm trees?
Say it again?
The palm trees one?
Yeah, maybe it was that size.
Okay.
And so because of that, all the vendors were super busy. There were a lot of customers, and it seemed pretty active. But I think like from a inventory availability standpoint, they have the same stuff that we have down here. You know, there's a good mix of sealed, modern, vintage, high end, lower end, everything. So I don't know if like we could come out there and be competitive with our inventory. I think there's already a lot to offer there, but I do think there are tons of new customers there that we could attract. And I do like the smaller shows because I don't know if it's true for everyone, but for me, the last NTX was a lot bigger and my sales suffered because of it. And I do think sometimes in Dallas, the shows can get so large that the customers have a lot of vendors to choose from, and then our sales volume just goes down.
500 tables or plus is crazy for a local show.
Yeah.
It's literally what we have. And it's a one-day show, so everybody and their mother comes out and they're choosing from like 500 plus tables. It's like, what are you going to do to be different, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. That or like, how's your brand? Like if people know you, they're going to come to you, but if people don't know you, which is like it's probably 90% of like the people that vend at like NTX, 90% of them are probably like newer people. And so it's like those people are more so fighting for business, whereas the people with like brands that are kind of like set in stone that are like well known, you don't have to fight as hard in my opinion. But you still have to fight. Like right now there's just so many people, you still have to fight, but like I feel like we put in the work to get the name out there, and so now we have like repeat customers coming out to support stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, but some of those customers are now vendors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
We talked about this on our travel hiatus whenever we like returned back home, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're all vendors now!"
Yeah.
They grow up so fast.
I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's kind of gotten a little corroded? Like, do you think there are too many vendors? Do you think everybody now has this like business growth mindset and it's kind of gotten weird?
Well, I truly like it a lot. I like the entrepreneurial spirit of people to have. Like, this is a hobby, but it can feed the family. You can feed the future. I like that people are taking a leap of faith into it. What I don't like is that there's just too much. It's more at a higher level, like the event coordinators, and like they're just like taking advantage of this vendor wave. Like I like that everyone's doing a vendor. Like I think it's awesome. I think everyone should be vendor or at least try it out once or twice. But I just think like the NTX thing being like 500 plus vendors, I'm like, oh my god, that's like a Collecticon level. I would have loved like the show right before that where they had like 250, 300 plays. It's perfect. Yeah. Like that was like almost perfect for vendor for everyone, like the buyer, seller, and then vendors, event runners. But the fact that there's like 500 plus, that was just the part that like I don't like that part. But I do like that there's lots of vendors trying it out. So I'm kind of a weird gray area there.
I have a question for you. Do you think that because of how many people we have in Dallas, I mean, we look at our local like groups, like, like Facebook groups and stuff, and like everything's blowing up. Everybody wants to trade out their stuff at 80 to 85% or something like that. Do you think there's a lot of influx of new vendors just so they have like an actual physical table to be able to do that? And they're not actually doing it want to do it like full time or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a huge perk. Like it's kind of like irrefutable evidence. Like I'm here, I spent my table money, I took my time, so I deserve some perks. I mean, that's how the mindset was back then. But now everyone has that mindset,
right?
And in the Facebook groups, like some people will. I mean, you'll see me on my Facebook posts all the time. But some people will flame you for like he's taking trades at 80%. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna meet you to make like a 100% trade for an $85 box. Like I'm not going to drive an hour to do this deal.
Right.
But I know it's a little bit hard for me to, it may be rude for me to say it like that, but sometimes like I really value time nowadays. I didn't understand the time perception back then, but nowadays time is just so valuable. I'm like, I just want to be home nowadays. And I will ship you this box, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. Like, my knee-jerk reaction is to keep the heck out of vending. because I'm, it's there's so much that goes into a vending style that requires content and very aggressive inventory upkeep and overhead that people don't think of. And I do think, like there are, like you guys said, there are people who are coming in and just wanting to get the percentage trade and buy at a certain percentage just to increase their collection. And I think that's fine. There we're always going to have a local vending community that's going to be doing that. But when the shows get a bit larger, or when there are shows that have a guaranteed installed customer base, it feels like some of the early vendors do take away or detract from some of the sales of the bigger guys. And that's just the name of healthy competition. But just to be totally vulnerable and genuine about it, like it does kind of feel like, oh, like if these people, if there were vendor applications or whatever, and you had to meet a certain threshold of, your own social media presence, your own level of inventory, would it be a better experience overall for not only buyers, but vendors? I don't know, something to think about. Or was that too off the rails?
No, you're good. I was just reading the chat because they were memeing me a little bit, but
I think that I agree with it like fully. Like since the last time that we had our video, I mean, I quit my job. So it's been like 2.5 months now since I left my day job, and I've started feeling like that healthy competition. Like, every show you go to, there's more and more competition. The person, you might think you're doing really, really well, then the person next to you pulls up and they have the same thing as you. And it's like, you have to be able to differentiate yourself and, get that clientele, because that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I've been pushing. Last week specifically, I've had this philosophy that like, if I can capture like show sales volume on the weekdays, I'm like, I think I can phase out of the show lifestyle. But because it's becoming so saturated, so competitive, I'm trying to do that. It's obviously a lot of work. I still got to build a brand, but if I can work online and just like, I think Reed talks about this often. He's like, RJ, he's like, if I make the same sales online and not go to a show, I'd rather just not go to a show. And I'm like, he's on to something. I was like, I kind of want to be home and, spend time with my dogs. I was like, he's really onto something. So
I think if you're a lot more methodical with how you do your business rather than just like keep turning and burning, I think you can do that very well.
Right.
Personally, because it's like Instagram is a great way to sell big cards.
It's free.
In general, it's free.
Yep.
Like you're literally just putting your time and energy into building your own like brand, and then from there, you're growing it, and people across the world are gonna reach out to you, and you're gonna be able to do sales there. It's just you have to be methodical about it. If you have like if you have 250 to 500 slabs, it's gonna be really hard to show somebody all that stuff, and you're gonna have to pick and choose. Whereas like Miller and I, like Atlas and I, we're very methodical when it comes to doing sales. Like we'll keep a very small inventory worth quite a bit. And you can sell stuff online 1, 2, 3 slabs in a week. And technically speaking, like if I just chose to do that, I wouldn't even need to go to like Dallas Collecticon. It's just because it's local and makes sense to go to. But like a bigger show, like it really depends. It just depends on how like what your method is on how you're selling. Because like even sealed boxes, you really don't want to do those online too much, because I'm sure shipping is a pain in the ass. Like stuff like that, you'd want to be at shows for. But like high-end slabs and stuff, like I feel like it works really well online, even mid-end.
Yeah, I would say I sell 50% or more of my high-end slabs through my Instagram.
There you go. That's the power of branding right there. Like the thing is, that's a huge competitive advantage, because 99% of vendors, like especially in Dallas, don't have that.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the branding to be able to just sell it online like that. So that you have less stress, less pressure at the actual show you're at. Because you don't want to be at the show just constantly stressing 24/7, being like, oh my God, like no one's coming to my table. You know, you want to have as much of that pressure taken off you so you can actually enjoy the show, right?
Yeah. I will say it's different types of stress though.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know about you guys. I get stressed shipping a $5,000 slab.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I do. I don't know. And because you know, I put the risk on the buyer.
Mhm.
If they want to buy third-party insurance, they can. I'm going to ship USPS 2-day priority, bubble wrap the crap out of it, tape the crap out of it, and send it off. But on top of that, the thing that's tricky, and I think it's not talked about a lot, you know, when you're doing in-person deals, first of all, you are behind a counter, you have your branding, you have your whole display, you can speak with some authority and get the deal done. When you're speaking on Instagram on one-on-one deal making, it's trickier. It's and things get lost in the sauce when you're texting, and people can get offended or people can miscommunicate. And I think there is a different type of stress that comes with online sales. And also it's riskier. I mean, the great thing about an in-person deal is you're going to get possibly cash in hand. I think all of us probably have $100 bill markers. Like we don't get scammed. You know, we take in, well, now there's a lot of Venmo scamming. There's a lot of PayPal GNS scamming. So I think a lot of us are taking friends and family Zelle only, wire transfer, that kind of stuff.
Well, even friends and family, still careful. Like, be careful on that one.
What's the risk there?
Like they just do like a bank chargeback, like a full-on bank chargeback, and like friends and family is still not safe. Because I had back when I was doing MetaZoo, I had one of the customers do that to me, and I'm like, bruh. Okay.
Dang, I didn't even know that. Whoa.
Yeah, so
crazy.
Like Zelle and cash is like Zelle is king to me. Like, like I don't care about cash, sure, but Zelle, I think Zelle is amazing. See, credit cards, they do the chargeback there. So very scary. I would try your best to stick to Zelle and stick to cash. And
Or
if
wire.
you do PayPal, just do or wire too for sure. But if you do PayPal, like it has to be like one of your buddies or something, like someone you can trust.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do like accept sales, but sometimes you're like, but I don't know. That's just something to be cautious about. Even I think I've heard cases of wire being able to pull back too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, not wire. Wise. The
Yeah,
internet.
Wise. Yeah, I heard about Wise too.
And I used to treat it like a Zelle, but now I've heard that I'm like, okay, well, it's just Zelle and cash is like probably the best thing to do. To be honest.
Or if it's big enough, just fly. Split the ticket.
Yeah.
Hey.
Honestly, the big deals are worth flying for. We did a lot of shipping for our large deals. We have a lot of insurance covering it though, so that's like the peace of mind that covers the shipping like large items. You know, insurance and signature and like, okay, send it over. It's overnighted, so like usually it's taken care of.
Yeah.
But yeah, big deals like shipping and cash, like that's a whole different story. That's like, yes, good job. Like that's what you want.
Yep.
If they fly to you with money, I'm like, oh my god, this is nice.
Even better.
Do you guys find yourself, in a sense, graduating from doing a lot more shows and getting into more of the localized business through your social media accounts, or do you still enjoy being in person and vending? Where do you guys see your future there?
I think I still need to personally do more shows and build on my branding. Like I'm able to do the big sales and all that, but I have yet to put my name personally out there and be like, hey, I'm at Listwin. I sell this. I'm different this way. Like
He's that
I
guy.
personally need to.
He's that guy. I say like every post, I'm like, this dude's crazy. He's him. I think me personally, I'm getting a little exhausted from the shows. Like I really want to do the ones with all that our friends are at.
Yeah.
Like the ones that are like none of my friends are. I'm like, I don't want to go, man. Like I don't. But the ones that are like it's like NTX, like that's a great time. Like we all go to Cali, that's a fun time. We all go to Chicago, it's fun. You know, the Dallas show for sure. Like all the big ones, all the homies are there. Like my homies, not like random homies. I personally love going to those. But I personally want to like phase out of shows and just like maybe do the ones I actively choose instead of going to all of them. Eventually, I want to just do online sales because we're working on other projects behind the scenes. But yeah, I want to slow down shows. Traveling is exhausting.
Sure.
I mean, it gets expensive. We're spending 1,000+ a show for overhead. If we do 10 shows, that's already 10K. Like,
Yep.
That's a gold star right there.
yeah, exactly. Like, if we stay home, we save the 10K, we get a gold star, easy.
A gold star today, maybe not in 6 months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might get a PSA 1 in 6 months.
Even the Ray Gold Star one piece one. I hate it here, man.
You know what's weird for me, and it's interesting to hear y'all's perspectives. I'd actually like to do more shows and just like eventually have an assistant. I want to scale up to get help so I can be in person and do the shows because for me, I love interacting with customers on site. I really get a kick out of it. I have a lot of fun. I do get stressed out when you'll see it in the next episode that comes out. I have 4 people at me almost at all times at the last NTX, and it is so overwhelming to maintain composure and then also like remember who's wanting what and how to sell quickly without them walking away. But I really do enjoy, I mean, obviously the content aspect, but just being in person and just like wheeling and dealing and like the social part of it for me is like, I would say like, maybe the quarter of why I do what I do. I really like doing it in person.
The local ones for sure. It feels like every time we do local, I'm like, I see all the friends, and it's a whole different like category. Well, we talked about this last time, I think, but like this last NTX, I just like all the customers are like Milan says, there's old customers, and I'm just like, man, I miss you guys. Like, y'all fly out to Georgia with me next time. Like, man.
Okay. If you guys, who are still watching, have any more questions, we're happy to keep going for a little bit and answer some of those questions. I'm curious to hear from you guys. Where do you see things heading for the 30th? I know we touched on it a bit, but I think more specifically, are there some hidden plays that maybe not the stuff that you're keeping totally vaulted that you don't want people knowing about, but are there some hidden plays you're happy to share? I think for me, and I think it's obvious, so I'm happy to say it. Pikachus that have not ran up, Pikachu promos, I think will all run up by next year. But yeah, curious what you guys think.
I'm trying to think. I have secret plays, I have private plays, and like there's like public plays. I'm like, Merry Christmas. If y'all have some, please let me know. I'm trying to think on mine.
I think it's one of the more obvious ones. I mean, I don't want to necessarily say like all ponchos because they've all gone up so much, but I think particularly the Mario Luigi is probably one of the best plays you can make right now and moving forward, just because of the narrative behind it, and how big the hobby's grown and how big this, like, the nostalgia with Pokemon overlaps with the Mario Brothers. I mean, we've seen the half arts just blow up in the past like month. Like, I was just looking at the auctions. The half art Mario just did 3,300. The Luigi's at like 2,800. So they're at 6,000 now. Whereas like 3 months ago, they were probably at like 4,000, 4,500 for the pair. And so I think people are finally starting to like zone in on those. I mean, some people consider them ponchos. I consider them ponchos as well, but they're different because it's like people from any age know them. Like, it's so easy to know what they are. And I feel like that is just something that will just keep pushing it as they get older and older.
I thought about my answer. I have landed it.
He's ready.
I'm ready. I want to say Sword and Shield booster box cases. My particular play that I've been like working on behind the scenes is I'm trying to get 1 through 4 of each set.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember during like 2 or 3, actually maybe 2 years ago, Sun and Moon were the prices where they were. Sword and Shield was now for Scarlet Violet. I don't know if that made sense, whatever I just said. Basically, the previous generation and the current one has shown the same price points as the previous generation before that. And then right now we're in that sweet spot of Sword and Shield where they're reaching the $800 mark, the $700 mark, $350 mark. I'm buying 1 to 4 cases of those because I see those all being 2,000 plus. I don't know if by 30th anniversary, I think it's very possible. I think because I think Sword and Shield, like all the heavy hitters in each set were much more stronger than the Scarlet Violet comparisons. So I truly think that in the next year, every set in Sword and Shield will nearly double if they're undervalued.
Yeah.
If all the skies, maybe not, but everything else I think will double. That's how I see it. But
Right, you, Miller?
I'm gonna stick to my bread and butter. I really think mid-era and before still has more room. Like, if we're honestly thinking about it, how much more of that era do we have to rip, to grade, to crack open, to regrade?
You haven't heard of the vintage printing facility?
it is
Heard about that.
It's my
It's
neighbor.
in Dallas.
Dylan was trying to bring me to one, you know.
I'll take you one right now.
The room behind Dylan is the vintage factory.
Yeah.
You have any gold star rings back there? All PSA 0 quality, baby.
I mean, I agree with both of y'all because like mid-era is like it was such a fun era.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to like play with the cards too. You know, actually like the Pokemon were actually OP, but not only that, the artworks were amazing. But like on Dylan's comment, like what was the first big set after COVID? It was Evolving Skies, right? Like for a lot of people, that is probably the base set of the next generation.
Totally.
When people connect Evolving Skies with the other Sword and Shield sets, they're all going to go up together because they're just going to classify all that as like the same, you know, like the rebirth of Pokemon or something like that. So that makes total sense to me. I think both of y'all are like spot on.
That's such a good point about Evo Skies. I mean, we see it with the Moonbreon. That's like the new base set Zard.
Mm.
You know, yeah. Which if you haven't bought a Boomerang yet, try to get one for 2K.
That's still possible.
Yeah. This is a good question. What's everyone's best strategy to trade up to Grail cards?
Oh, I've been doing it. This whole 4 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll take that one. So Brian, I've been like, I call it on my stories. I like to meme a lot on my stories. I call it the grand optimization. It's pretty much me churning a bunch of like crap into good crap, and then it's getting into good crap into like good crap. I'm getting in the era of like I'm trading for good slabs now. This is me working doing the roundabout way of trading like my crap for like my Grail cards, which are Gold Star Rayquaza. So me personally, just building the network, I'm able to do that. I don't think I could have done this last year. Like me doing this last year would have been like, who is this guy? Come on. But me asking for straight trades with store owners and other vendors is like, it's possible now because I've given favorable deals both ways and people just like to do deals with me. So I truly think like Milan was saying is build your network and branding, and you can open up doors that are close to other people. So me doing that is just like a big snowball of trading up my sealed collection into the cards that I truly want for my collection. So that's my current strategy.
I like to buy stuff that people don't like, that I know is going to run up.
Ooh.
So that's like a great example was I've been yapping about alt arts for the past month.
You have?
They're now appreciating. I think the play is kind of exhausted-ish. But I mean, like the Giratina was like $1,100. That's crazy. You know, the Moonbreon being 2K while the Prismatic Sunbreon was 2.83K for so long felt wild to me.
Yeah.
And everyone still, even with those numbers, even people knowing how popular they once were, seeing the come up in April 2024, they hated the alt art play. I mean, nearly everyone I talked to. And so what I try to do is catch people by surprise, find stuff that people like. I mean, hey, Scarlet Violet, get a freaking Surging Sparks Pikachu 10 for like $600 right now. You know, I've been yapping about the 151 Zard and Bubble Mew. I am kind of tired of that play because I think it's going to take too long. I'll be honest, but they're cheap right now, and I do think that Bubble Mew is going to be over $1,000 in a PSA 10 relatively soon. So I try to find that not so zesty stuff, especially if you are able to maintain a position where you can hold it back and not vend with it and let it sit and cook for 3 to 6 months. Then I'll use that when it's popular again and everybody wants it and there's this crazy FOMO to trade into a Grail card.
Pull your punches.
Yes.
I think that makes a lot of sense too. I think the growth that you can find in stuff like in other slabs that will go up and you can trade it out. I think you do the same thing with booster boxes. Just buy the booster boxes, keep them away, and the way things work out is the booster boxes have a pretty solid return over time, and slabs are a lot more volatile. So you have this situation where your booster boxes appreciate, your slabs are a bit more volatile. They could get a dip when the two cross, swap them, trade them out. Yep. That's your easiest way to get your grails.
That's facts.
Grails turn people into whales.
Yep.
Yes.
Or you can, 0 or triple flip Dylan and,
oh man,
lose the timers. I don't know.
I never offer you these things.
No, he literally holds me. He's like, "We're doing this, or you're not leaving."
No, he walks up to my table every time. He offers it to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm down.
What? Just give me your stuff.
Give me your Umbreon. Come on.
I know you're losing today. Here you go.
Oh my God.
Okay, we'll take one last one here. How do you feel about the PSA 10 Munch set relative compared to Ponchos in terms of growth? I want to start with this one. I had the Munch set, and I thought I did the thing and made my money. Bro, that crap is like 18K now.
Yeah.
What
was it before when you had it?
15.
Ooh.
Yeah.
20%.
And I thought, the EV's 2K now.
Yeah.
And I think the Ponchos are doing relatively the same. Ponchos are their own market by and large now. But I will say Japanese promos in general have been running like crazy, and you can't go wrong with either. But I think there is a ceiling on the Munch set in comparison to the Ponchos, if I were to put my money on it.
I don't know, man. I feel like
the Munch set's beautiful. I guarantee you at some point there are going to be some like people that just love art that are going to pay stupid amounts of money for that full set. Like absolutely. It's like the same way you put a Pikachu on a card with costumes on it, everyone's going to go for it. Like that's right. It's like the official like mascot of Pokemon. Like you can't really ever knock that. But it's hard to compare though, because you're literally looking at Pikachus with costumes versus like actual art, like art and cards. It's like the Van Gogh that has like a 30,000 plus pop is still at 850 plus. The demand is crazy. So think about that demand going into Japanese art like that. I mean, the demand is going to be pretty solid.
I think they're wrong with either. I truly think the ceiling keep going, because like Milan was saying, like the art transcends language, which everyone knows what this art is. Mm-hmm. Like my mom knows what Van Gogh is, and she loves that card, and that's why I think the card's still 850, and I think it's going to go to 1,000 soon. But the Munches specifically, I mean, if I had to look at the whole market, I feel like it has so much more room to grow. Mm. And I regrettably have tried to get some Munches from Amar many times, but I was like, I'll just wait till it gets cheaper. It never did. It never did.
Well, the pop's not crazy on all of them.
You said they are or not?
No, it's not. Like it's what like Pikachu's. What's Pikachu? Like that's probably one of the highest pops, right?
No, yeah.
It's not over like 5,000.
No.
So like, Johnston has a set. I feel like he has a set. This guy Spanx. I feel like I'm pretty sure he has a set. Mm-hmm. I need to go work on this deal.
I will say, I feel like when I acquired the Munch set, freaking everyone did it right after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do think there's an influx of people trying to liquidate their full Munch set now compared to when I had them.
Maybe I should buy now.
Hey, yeah.
But I want to buy booster boxes, damn it.
So this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to be doing these every the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you guys have any questions you want us to preload, we're happy to answer those for the next one in a month. A month from now, we'll have done Dallas Collecticon. We'll have done Card Party. I'm sure we'll have tons to talk about. But thank you all. Everybody follow MetaKhai, Atlas Win, Mushu's Collectibles. Spanx does have a munch set. Let's hit him up. I think I know your Instagram. I think I know you have it. Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. See you guys in the next one.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Peace.